Alright, trying to get set up here. This is a new camera, or it's a new phone. Trying to figure out how to get it to. It keeps doing the lighting wrong. Like every time I put my head, it's the craziest thing. If I put my head, I went dark. Hold on, wait. Now I put my head down here. The light comes up. I can see myself, and that's good. But then when I lean back, or I put my head back, then I go dark again, like light, dark. So somehow, before I figure this out, I'm gonna have to figure out where to put this big melon so that the light is right. Okay, hold on. There. All right, I think that's good. I think y'all can see me. Man, I got some. Yeah, I'm not gonna. No, I'm not gonna make any dark skin jokes because y'all, this is just. The racial climate we're in, I think we have to hold off on some of that for a little bit. So I won't make any of those. But growing up, boy, we was hard. We were harsh, boy. Which actually, I didn't even mean to talk about that, but that might make for an interesting point because I'm not sure a lot of y'all are aware. But within every community, there's fighting. Dang, I moved my head. Within every community, there's fighting, right? And growing up, you had the people of a much darker persuasion in this group that people like to put me in. Good morning. And then you had the folks of the lighter persuasion in the group that master, because on the plantation, right, he grouped everybody. And this was a game he played in grouping and keeping the slaves divided, right? You know, you promote some slaves to actually come on the porch and pour some lemonade. And if you were very bright, you could do that. Very light-skinned, you could do that. And the darker you were, you know, if you were kind of in the middle, you might be able to go on the porch, you know, bring some ice to the lighter folks that pour the lemonade. And if you were like me, you were way out in the field. You were so far out in the field, they could hit the bell from the porch and you wouldn't even hear. You was just way out there. So outside, yeah, I won't go. Sometimes you have to measure the time before you talk about certain things. But the point was, and I think we talked about it on the thread a little bit. Good morning, Trent. When you on the plantation and the railroad tycoons, they divided people up. That's what they did good. They were fantastic and phenomenal with it. They knew how to take a community and rule. You rule by dividing people up. If you can divide them up, you can do anything you want. If all the ants get together, then the plantation is going to go the way they want. So anyway, they would divide up the folks, the slaves on the plantation. They tend to do it by color or by skin tone, which is the same narrative that most people are lost in today. And they did the same thing. The railroads did the same thing for white folks and Chinese folks and, you know, and the Mexicans that worked on the railroad. So they've been playing this game for the longest time, and they play everybody against each other. So I won't go down the light skin, dark skin jokes. All I'm just going to say is we know the game, or most of us know the game, and let's not fall prey and just come up with another subgrouping. You know, as humanity, we have to work together. But this is so weird. I got to hold my head down, otherwise I can't see myself. I don't know. I got to figure this thing out. See, look at that. Look, I just converted to the dark side. Look at that. Hold on. All right, some jokes gonna come. So anyway, I kind of wanted to talk about peacekeeping and peacemaking, and got pulled into. Of course, I got pulled into a couple threads and kind of reading what people were writing, and man, this doesn't work if you are a peacekeeper, right? Like a lot of y'all are peacekeepers, and I'm back. A lot of y'all are peacekeepers. And peacekeeping works in a time of peace. This is not a time of peace, right? We have an environment that thrives on destabilization, which is why we're all over the world destabilizing countries. Why? Because you can make a lot of money from destabilizing a population. And so America, and well, certainly in the ghettos, they destabilized and they make a lot of money. You know, you look at the prison system and how all that works. Multiple industries coming from the pharmaceutical companies and vaccines and everything they do in the inner cities, they make money off of. They do the same thing in Syria. They did the same thing in Iraq. They do the same thing in Yemen. They make money off of destabilization. And so, you know, what I was getting to is they make money off of destabilizing the population. You know, and I won't get into the Farmers Alliance, but you have to understand that at the end of the day, if what you do breaks people up, you're not serving people, you are serving the ruling elite. And as hard as that is to like process and accept, you got to swallow it. You got to swallow it. Look at the result of your post. Look at the result of your commentary. If it breaks people down, brings them apart, makes them angry, then you put in work. You put in work for the ruling elite, and we got to stop putting in work for the ruling elite. And I do it too, to be perfectly honest with you. Sometimes, I mean, we talk about TV and the coding that TV did on us, you can't pull out. Like I was having a good discussion, I forgot what the brother's name was, but it's subliminal, right? Like when you watch television, they are sending digital subliminal messages to you, and they are completely programming you. You can watch the news or something and you look at the news report and say, oh, that's BS, that's bull, whatever. But if they have little digital messages hidden in there that your subconscious is picking up on, you can say the news is BS, but you're going to believe it. And we saw this before. This is like back in the 80s when they had the popcorn. We go to the drive-in theaters, and I'm kind of putting my age out there a little bit. But we would go to the drive-in theater, and they would flash pictures of popcorn. And your conscious mind couldn't pick it up, but your subconscious mind picked it up. And you start thinking, dang, Dad, can I have some popcorn? And then everybody in the car, yeah, popcorn, that sounds like a good idea. And everybody, you know, and you, of course, take the little thing off the door, the speaker, and you go get the popcorn. But they're playing these games on us, which is why I say turn the television off. Something happened on the thread we were talking. I was watching something, and they were talking about, you know, you gotta whittle in a message of hope, right? You gotta give people hope. You can't just talk about politics because it's really, really negative. And to me, it's not negative. Like, I laugh a lot because to me, I actually find a lot of this just so ridiculous. It's funny, the things that people believe. But so I tried, right? Like I tried to put something positive out there. A good brother of mine came back, found him on the thread, guy I grew up with. He's a politician, right? And I got some other friends on the thread that are politicians. So I was thinking, you know what? I'm kind of hard on politicians. Let me give them a bone. Let me just throw a comment out there. So I think I posted something about, you know, not all politicians are bad. Something about some of them mean well, right? They're just trapped in the system too. And to me, that's fact, right? Like, it's no question. But I think the way I worded it, I said most, and I got nailed. Oh, they came for me, boy. They strung me up, man. It was crazy. It was like, what? That politicians, what? You know, but I'm gonna put this out, and I'll back down on my most politicians mean well, and I appreciate it too, because like, we got to keep each other honest. We have to keep each other honest. We got to keep each other true, and you do that by checking your friends. Good morning, Stephen. How you doing, brother? You got to check your friends. You got to check me. If I put something out there and it's like, whoa, no, you coming off the rails, you know, that's your slave mind, brother. Come on, pull back. Then go ahead and tell me. And so, but on this one, so I'll back down. I won't say most politicians mean, but I won't say that. There's some good research that James Fallon did. Sometimes I post some of this stuff on neuroscience and the mind of the psychopath. You should definitely check it out, because the psychopaths bubble to the surface in any field, right? The psychopath, he and she, they have more tools. They don't have empathy. They are at the top of the corporations. They're always at the top of the government, because this is our ancient predator. You know, these are genetics that get passed on, and there were times when the psychopath saved humanity. You know, it's the warrior gene. And there were times that now, when we're in times of relative peace, where the psychopaths They're not getting their fill. They're not, in bloodlust rages in war, but they're in bloodlust rages in politics, and they're getting their endorphin response. They're getting that thrill from doing things in government, and this is why you can't believe. But anyway, let me. I was trying to say something positive. I turned black again. Hold on, wait. No, I'm light skinned black. Dang it, this phone is crazy. By the end of this thing, my neck is gonna hurt. So anyway, so I posted something. So I backed down. I won't say most politicians mean well. I would say there are a lot. There are a lot of politicians who mean well, and they took up the job to do positive things. But this system, man, like it's got us all trapped, and they're trapped, and they can't actually do the job that they want to do because they are locked in the system. And you have to kind of accept that. And why it's important to try to cultivate areas of friendship that everybody can come into is because we got to get everybody's perspective, and the politician has a perspective. If all of this coming together is useless, right? It's useless if after we come together and we actually figure out why everybody's so upset, how all the different sectors in America don't work, and we don't have some politicians with us. What is our only recourse? Like, think about that for a minute. You got to really, really process. Sometimes I get carried away. I have a little fun with the politicians. They say crazy stuff. But when we start, and this is why I try to cultivate within my friends, all different types of voters, all different types of people from all different sections. But we got to make a comfortable spot for politicians too. If we don't have some of those folks who are getting the message of unity, who are with us, by the time we figure out, okay, I get how I was being a jerk to you by the way I was voting, and you get how you were being a jerk and my party was hurting you and the future of your children. Okay, so let's move forward. We got a plan. This is what we can do. This is how we can evolve and upgrade our country, better for our children. If we don't have some people in government, we don't get the perspectives of how they got locked out of having a say. Like, I'll put two of my favorites out there, and I hate identity politics because names mean nothing, and people, they turn, and as soon as they become our favorite, we're like, yay, he's on our side, she understands us. They do something, man. They take that pixie sprinkle dust, put it on their head, and they turn into, whatever it is that they turn into, and they turn against us. So, but from my perspective, from what I see at the current moment, I like Tulsi. I do. I'm sorry, I do. And I like Ron Paul. I do. And I think that they mean well, but they're blocked out of every decision. And what we have to realize is that that's going to happen, and we need to get their perspective. We need to understand what the hell is blocking them out. Like, we can speculate from the outside, kind of how the Republicans speculate what the Democrats want, and the Democrats speculate what the Republicans want, and they always get it wrong, and they always divide the country, because it's orchestrated, but because you don't talk to people on that side. So you got to make a comfortable space for the politicians, man. You can't push them out. But along with that, talking about serving the ruling elite, I'm hard on the people who directly serve them, because I think it's obvious, and I think if it's so obvious, you really should see it, but you can't because of the coding. If you're using words with racial terms in them, like words of division, every time you use it, you're offending somebody. If somebody see the wrong person sees that, like, oh, look what he wrote, that mother, blah, 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 and then you're pushing people away. You're dividing. You're putting in work for the ruling elite, and this is why the masters invented race. That's why they invented all of these concepts, and the ruling elite invented, all the white supremacy and all that crazy dumb stuff y'all talk. That's why they invented that, to keep you fighting. Please read your history. It'll bless you. Read. I just had a Medea thought, but read your history, man. It'll bless you. But I don't want to talk about them. I want to talk about you, right? I want to talk about those who are indirectly serving the ruling elite, not the ones who put it out there in the face of it, but the ones who indirectly serve, wherein your brother, your sister says something, and you burn that bridge, right? Like we all got friends that possibly we don't talk to. Well, that's not true. I don't have no friends I don't talk to, man. I love all my people. I still talk to them. But the election broke them apart, and you're putting in work for the ruling elite now indirectly. But this thing is a mind screw, right? Like they handed these words and these terms and these narratives down to create division. And it wasn't just for the people who talk that way and believe those things. It also is for the people who say, well, we're not going to be friends no more. And hit the delete button and we're not friends and we don't talk. We don't pick up the phone and call. You burn that bridge. Who do you think you're serving? So, my background, I mean, I got a lot of atheist friends. I got a lot of Muslim friends. I happen to be Christian, right? And I don't believe what most Christians believe. Some of them say, he ain't Christian. That's okay. That's okay, because I got my own beliefs. Nobody's formed my beliefs for me. They don't tell me what to believe. I believe what I see and I feel and I know. So, but there was a good book a long time ago I read by Ken Sande. It's called Peacemaker, right? Like, there's a difference between a peacekeeper and a peacemaker. We don't need any more peacekeepers. There is no peace to keep. Look outside. Man, I haven't posted nothing in a couple of days because it was helicopters all out there because some people thought it would be a good idea to kill a bunch of folks, a bunch of kids, and dump them in a hole. So there's no peace to keep. There is no, you're useless. If you're a peacekeeper, you're useless. The true portions of the religion I serve, not what y'all see on television, but the trueness of it, if we're supposed to be peacemakers, man, you're supposed to go out there and find brothers that you have offended and make that peace. And I had to say that on a thread the other day because a lot of folks, they want to go with this idea that, we're we'll be on church on Sunday and blah, 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 blah. And well, you apologize first. And no, I'm going to apologize. You did it first and you did it. It is my job, if I offended you, to come out and find you and apologize to you. The God I serve, he could care less who did what first to who. If you got something against me, I'm supposed to come out and apologize to you. And my point in that thread was, I want you, if you got that in you, go do that. And it's not just for the people arguing that were in that thread, it's for you. If you got people that you don't talk to because of some crazy politicians who wanted to be the presidents of the United States, or a crazy politician who is the president of the United States, man, go out there and make that peace. Go out there and make that peace, because that's the only way we get somewhere. We can't keep playing this every 8 years debacle. So stop indirectly serving the ruling elites. Stop going along with these narratives the way they designed them to play out. Right, exactly right, Brother Steve. You don't have to believe what others believe. We got to get past this idea that you gotta idea that because I believe this, you gotta believe this. Because I don't like guns, you can't like guns. Because I want health care, and maybe I'm sick, maybe I really, you gotta pay for that health care. Like, I think there's some really good discussions that can be had and some really good solutions. But and everybody has legitimate gripes. The problem is you don't have good solution makers in Washington and probably all levels of government. These aren't solution people. These are lawyers, right? These are people who are used to sticking it to you, not people who are used to designing solutions. And so I don't want to get into healthcare. I think there's some great solutions there, and they're not anywhere near the great solution. I just went blurry. Hold on. Now I went black. Okay, whoa. There's no field deep enough in the plantation for what just happened with my camera. All right, hold on. All right, well, let me see if I can hold my head there. Okay. So don't indirectly serve the ruling elite. It ain't just about them. It's about, oh, dang it, I'm picking cotton. Hold on. Wait. Good Lord. I'm going to figure this phone out, and I'm not going to hurt my neck. So quality, think about the results of your actions and qualify them. Like I talk about health a lot. For me, it's all about growing, being natural, being healthy and strong, being self-sufficient as much as possible, because I know that if you're not self-sufficient, if you're not even part self-sufficient, if you're not even 5% self-sufficient, you don't tell your government nothing. They tell you everything. So, people ask me a lot of times, and what is health? Like, how do you eat healthy? I can't tell you how to eat healthy. I honestly, like, if you look at the science, there are 7 billion different types of human beings with 7 billion different types of gene makeups that are changing all the time because of epigenetics and because y'all can't stop taking your pharmaceutical drugs and all the pesticides and the crap that's in your food. And then you got, 400 trillion different types of bacteria in your body changing your DNA. There is no such thing as me telling you what healthy is or anybody else telling you what healthy is. So how do I qualify that? I qualify that by health, right? Do I get sick? Do you get sick? If you get sick, that's your immune system saying, we got to change something, right? Like, you got to change something. Me, I feel that I'm healthy because I hadn't been sick in years. And I know a lot of people say that, but no, literally, like, it's not one cold a year or 2 colds or 1 virus. No, I don't get sick at all. No colds, no flus, no headaches, no nothing. I feel I'm healthy. My immune system is working. That means that it has all the extra time in the world to go deal with the cancer and the leukemia and all this stuff that just happens. So you qualify it by the result. And so in terms of, if you're serving the ruling elite, qualify it by the result. If how you talk to people makes people angry with you, you guys can't have a dialogue, you're not helping us. You're helping them. Like, you're helping the billionaires. Like, that's how that works, So try to qualify what you say to people, how you say it to people. Be a peacemaker. Go out there. You know what? Go out there and make some peace. Plant a garden. Put some tomatoes in the ground. Put some easiest things to grow are tomatoes and peppers. Put them in the ground. Why? Because you can have a bumper crop. You can have a lot of extra tomatoes and not have any idea what you're doing. And why do I say that? This is elder wisdom, right? Like, if you've got some old people in your family that you ever listen to, you'll understand what I'm saying. Because there are years when your ground performs better than their ground. And when that happens, you will have tons of extra tomatoes. And you got a choice in those tomatoes. I had a tomato plant last year growing in my aquaponic system. There were almost 70 beefsteak tomatoes that came off of one freaking plant. One plant. I couldn't eat all. There was no way I could eat all that with everything else I was eating. So I had all this extra tomatoes. You start giving it away. That's what our ancestors did, dummy. I'm sorry, I don't mean to say those. That's what our ancestors did. And how does that build a community? What does that do? Well, because if let's say you're a Democrat and your neighbor's a Republican, and you're just showing up at the door and you're giving them tomatoes, what do you think that's going to do? What do you think that's going to do when his politician tells him that you're the demon, that you're evil, and that you're lazy and you don't want to, and it works both ways, right? If you're a Republican, and you shouldn't be, and you shouldn't be a Democrat neither, boy. But if that's who you are, other people who go to him, he's thinking, yeah, man, this is just a great family. Every time I turn around, they're putting cucumbers on my door. They're putting lettuce on my door. They're putting tomatoes. Like, what the heck? Why is he giving me stuff? Like, it's not going to compute, because in this nation, unfortunately, everybody's really greedy. But this is what the older folks did. Because sometimes it builds a community. It builds a community. And so you have to break down these things. If you don't know your neighbor, you haven't talked to your neighbor, you just see him out mowing his lawn and grass and you don't know him, it's easy for him to turn against you. It's easy. Oh boy, because when the TV plays up the narratives and puts in the subliminal programming and you're a Muslim or something, or you're Hispanic, then they believe all of that stuff. And like, yeah, the guy never said nothing to him. Something wrong with him. You know, we got to make some laws. Yeah, get that legislation in there. Well, yeah. And if he's smoking that, we got to put him in prison. We got to, and this is how they play that BS up. So I don't want to belabor that point, but give away the excess. Put in your garden. You got to be strong. You got to be healthy, because sick people can't. You're useless. If you're, you're not useless. That's not right, and that's not fair. But if you're not strong and healthy, and you're not loving your neighbor and giving those things away, you're not helping us, man. So think about that. And don't leave the tomatoes in the refrigerator, right? This is the billionaire mentality. Like, people ask me, well, why am I not throwing stuff Trump's way? I don't need to. I don't think I need to. I watch my friends who voted the way they did, and I know why they voted the way they did, and it doesn't help in the conversation. I do my best. You never hear the words Obama, Trump, Clinton. I do my best. They just came out my mouth, but I do my best to not let that stuff come out of my mouth, because it doesn't matter. I grew up in a very weird world where if you had $1 billion, do you know how many people have to starve for you to have $1 billion? Do you know the construct of our society is based on having not? The more have-nots you have, the more have you can have. And so everything's based on having have-nots, people who don't have homes, people who don't have food, people who don't have water, and you let it all go to waste. If you're not letting your tomatoes go to waste in your refrigerator, you're giving them away, which means, hello. So I won't go down that path, but no, I think there are some good billionaires out there. It's just going to be really hard for me to know where they are. And my buddies who I know voted that, they didn't vote for him because they thought he was a great guy. They did it because they felt they had no other options, which is why the other side did it, because they felt they had no other options. So, but I don't think you can hoard all of that and be a good guy. I don't think you build community by sticking $1 billion in the bank, and you don't build a community by not growing tomatoes. If your neighbor's not planting anything, you should plant something. So jump off of that. So qualify your actions, and I'm gonna kind of wrap this up on the bees, right? Like, I wanted to talk about psychotropic drugs, and I'm gonna get into that because I think it's important to understand that it's a setup. It's important to understand that these pharmaceutical companies, and you just go online, you do your searches, you'll see the lectures and the doctors talking about how the psychotropic drugs don't work. But it makes great money. Why? Because when you got people out here in the community who possibly shouldn't be, but they're buying your drugs, you're making money. But after 3 or 4 months, if it wears off, and that person doesn't know it didn't wear off, and now they're starting to see demons and stuff, and things are starting to tell them that they need to go kill somebody. I'm not going to go through the details, but they make a lot of money on that. And this is why when mass murders happen, I don't want to hear nothing about guns. You're talking to the wrong person. You need to go talk to somebody else. I want to know who made money from that situation. And while they might have sold one gun, they sold a hell of a lot of pharmaceuticals, because all of these mass shootings come up with psychotropic drug use. But I said I wasn't supposed to talk. I was going to talk about the bees. So check this out. It was last year. I had a hornet's nest up here right under one of my plant benches, right? And I had to spray it every day. And I looked at him. I was like, oh, there's a bee's nest here. And I took a picture of it, sent it to my buddy. He's like, those aren't bees. He's like, those are hornets. And so I got to get rid of them. They're hornets, right? Like, that's what our narratives are. You got to get rid of the hornets, right? So I was like, okay. So I went to the store, and I went to one of the demon stores, one of the demon big box stores, and and I looked on the ingredients in the label, and and I started seeing the neonicotinoid pesticides and all of that stuff, and Monsanto and all this stuff started coming in my head. I was like, you know what? They didn't do nothing to me. So let's see how this plays out. I'm gonna lead a hornet, and it was a big hornet's nest, right? This thing was like already 1.5 feet long, and it was early spring. So you know what? I don't want to give my money to big business. I understand. Hey, what's up, Jay? I understand that me giving money to big business, it is funding what I'm trying to fight. And how stupid is that? So I said, okay. I walked out of the store and came back. Come to find out, the Hornets didn't give a damn about me, right? So I would water the bench every day, and I'd see them flying. Oh, here we go. I'm back on the field. Hold on. Damn it. Okay, well, put my head. There we go. Light again. Okay, I'm back. Y'all don't understand, man. I went to school. These kids, they had no emotion, man. They had no sensitivity training. It was rough, boy. You look like you. I went to a high school. We had about 4 or 5 smokes, a couple blacks, and we had all kind of names for each other. But anyway, let me stop. All right, let me try to get my light back. I have to figure this camera. I just think y'all raising sensitive kids is a mistake. You know, you gotta love them and you gotta show them empathy and all that great stuff. But you don't let them flip out because they hear a word, because they're gonna become some really special adults we're gonna have problems with. So I forgot what. Oh, the bees, right? I was talking about the Hornets. No, it's talking about the Hornets. Okay, right. So the cool thing that I found out is the Hornets are like the alligators and the wolves. They don't care about you. They don't know. Hold on a second. All right, I had to close the door. Ringing was bothering me. Yeah, so I still do programming, and I got all kind of sensors and bells and things that go off with automation and grow beds and some of the things that I do because I do it because I love it, right? This is why we don't have lazy people in our society. If anyone tells you if we automate the world that everyone's going to lay on their butt and do nothing, that's a lie. We all have passions, and once you tap into that passion, you will do it for free. So, but we won't go there. That's the Star Trek economy. That's another discussion. So I was up here every day watering the plants and the bees. The Hornets, they got used to it, right? Like they actually would start coming out and drinking the water while I was down there spraying. And I would use my power tools doing what I got to do. And every now and then I get a little too close. I'd make a little too much vibration. I'm running the circular saw, stuff like that. And you know what the Hornets would do? They'd come out and they'd start hitting me. Like they would come out and they would start hitting me in the chest and the back, hit me in the head and stuff. And after a while, I started to realize this is crazy, but they're warning me. Like they're trying to tell me, look, dummy, look, you bald-headed. I can't say it. I used to listen to some comedy. Look, dummy, you're making too much vibration. The queen's getting a little pissed off. And when she gives the word, we're going to sting the hell out you. And that brings back memories because it was one time I was cleaning some wood in my mother's backyard. Oh my gosh. I got stung. I'll tell that story another time. But ooh, I got stung the hell up. It's a good thing my little sister knew some herbalism. But anyway. But they would warn you. Like they are a community, right? Like I would stand there sometimes and I'm spraying and I would see them flying into the nest. And they were taking the same route. It was the craziest thing on the planet. Like when they flew in, they would all fly the same route. And when they flew out, they all flew out the same route. And I was just like, this looks like an airport. This is crazy. But I realized that they're communicating and they are working together. Like they get it. And that's why they're still here. Like they with the ants, they get to be here because they get it. As dumb as you think these creatures are, they get it. They know how to work together. They've evolved to work together as a team. And the only way we get to stay here is if we figure out how to work together as a team. If we drop the division and realize that the sake of the nest is more important than anything, it's more important than my individual life or your individual life, then you can actually survive as a species. But every species that doesn't get it, that doesn't get that it has to work together, it's gonna go away. And brothers and sisters, whichever way y'all want to go, I'm good with, to be honest with you, because I love my life. I'm good to go. I've had a great life. I got some great kids. And if y'all would to go ahead and end this thing and let the ruling elite put us all in the dirt, then I'm good with that, right? Like, I'm a part of the community. We can do it. If you want to keep doing this Democrat-Republican thing, okay. Hey, like I said, I'm going to grow some delicious organic apples, man, because I eat good. And the ruling elite, the kids, they're going to be strong and healthy. But, you know, once finally in the history of the human race, we have the data, we have an internet, we have relationships and conversations with people in China and Syria and everywhere else, and we know the same people are all playing us, and they're all playing us the same exact way. It has not changed since the time of kings and lords dividing up the serfs to the time of the Egyptians. We once finally have a nation that's designed to be run by its people, that could literally tomorrow demand world peace and just say, we're done. We are done with the craziness. We're done with the drama. We're going to have world peace. We finally, everybody that died up till now probably died so we can get to this point, and we finally have a generation that has that ability to make all that struggle worth it, all that death, all that pain, all that suffering worth it. And you got to make a choice for yourself. I've made a choice for me. Do you want to be that generation that made humanity suffer, that ended all of the suffering, all of the suffering? And I'm going to leave on this. Look up Michio Kaku, man. I love this brother. This brother, oh, this cat is smart. He has a video out there about civilizations. You know, he was kind of making some points. He said, you know, every civilization, and I might be mixing his knowledge with somebody else's, but every civilization on the history of the planet, every civilization, they've all gone extinct. Every last one, they've all disappeared. And if they all disappeared, and things work in a micro scale as they do on a macro scale. A lot of y'all don't believe in aliens, and I'm fine with you. In your own head, you can be alone if you want to, but there are more Earth-like planets in the solar system we know now, in the galaxy, than grains of sand on all the beaches all over the Earth. And if that's true, there's something out there. But anyway, his point was, if we ever get out there, we're going to find ruin after ruin after ruin after ruin. Why will all of these planets totally be devastated? Because things work on the micro scale as they do on the macro scale. If our civilizations can't make it, then it makes perfectly good sense that most civilizations in space, they didn't make it either. There'll be just collapsed buildings and destroyed things and falling apart civilizations. But I think every now and then, that one chance, probably in a couple billion, instead of the Hitlers bubbling to the top, instead of the Mao Zedongs bubbling to the top, instead of the Stalins bubbling to the top, every now and then you were just lucky enough. Maybe there's one in the Milky Way galaxy that actually gets to a point where they have a government that has a military powerful enough, an internet communicating wide enough, and a government designed to be run by the people. And if we get through all of this to get to a point where we say, you know what? No, let's let Wall Street run it. Then we all deserve to be dirt. Man, y'all have a good day.